Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. JC here with another video on Action Taimanin. So today we're gonna talk a little bit more about Wight. But before we start, don't forget to leave a like, share, and subscribe if you need the content. So I've been checking some of the opinions about Wight, and the general consensus seemed to be that she's not that great of a character. Like, honestly, I check Cornsfield's video, check his channel. He's an excellent content creator. I do recommend that you check his videos. He's pretty knowledgeable about everything on AT, so you should check him. But back to the point. Wight is underperforming. For a year 5 character, that's not great. Like, let's see over here, let's go to number, and if we compare the characters we have had, like Ragnarok, yeah, I think it's Ragnarok was the one. This was the first character of the year. It was amazing. Mirabelle, she's been okay, honestly. Like, not like the most busted thing. She can be used effectively on challenging content because she can work as a debuffer. The pack enhanced her capabilities a little bit, and she's been fine. Lan underperformed. She's just a generic beastie that doesn't have an identity of her own. Kara is terrible, underly pretty much underperforming, just like Lan, because of the lack of healing and being designed as a range attacker, even though she's melee. And then we have Asuma. Asuma is an excellent character, a little bit slow, which can be detrimental in some situations, but nothing to worry about, honestly. She deals respectable damage, she's pretty good, she has dual elements, so she's good. And then we have Wight, which honestly, she might be just as bad or maybe even worse than Kara, which is saying a lot. Lan at least deals damage fine, even though she doesn't have an identity. It's a natural beatstick. But Wight, yeah, she has damage, even more impressive damage than Lan. But the issue is how she's designed. So Gremory doesn't seem to know what revive passives are meant to do. So, in my opinion, based on my experience of video games, there are two kinds of revive passives. We have the safety net, number one, which is a nice effect to have. Sometimes it's not useful because you don't die on the stage, but it is nice to know that in case of an emergency you are covered. And that's the purpose of the safety net. Putting just a safety net would be detrimental on a character on this game because usually, like, after enhancing the character enough, you don't die in the game. You clear content consistently, and you can even do solos on tower. But then there's the other aspect of the revives passives, the super buff revive. Sometimes in video games, you die and then you revive with your passive and you get a buff so that you don't die again. You become incredibly strong, and that's what they decided to do to this character, which is completely fine. But there is a problem. In order to activate the revive, you first of all need to die. And for that to happen, you must be kind of frail. And they made this character frail, which would be fine if that only lasted on her first HP bar. But on the second HP bar, she is still frail, and she can die pretty easily, which is not good. So the easy fix for this character is to provide on the leader skill, and I'm gonna be very specific, on the leader skill, a substantial amount of damage reduction after the revive. I don't think it's a good idea to implement that on a weapon, because once again, we're gonna be forced to buy a pack on only use one weapon. We still don't know how they're gonna deal with that problem with the renewal weapon. Like in the case of Francis, she suffers from the same problem. And we'll see after her renewal what they do. If they actually decide to fix her leader skill so that it provides tipsy on every skill, and the weapon would be like double stacking. If they're willing to do that, that would be fine. And if they're willing to implement damage reduction on the revive over here with the renewal, that would be fine. But honestly, she needs to become extremely tanky because she's too frail, like way too frail. I cannot believe how frail she is. So yeah, she definitely needs that on the leader skill. Not only that, she also needs healing. My recommendation would be to give her a skill that works on any color that deals damage and heals based on the damage dealt. Why do I say so? Why not percentage, which is one of the best healings in the game? Percentage, max HP percentage. Like lost HP is pretty bad. And which is the other one? Ah, yeah, the healing area is the other one that is pretty bad. But damage, healing damage, no, that healing based on damage is actually pretty good for a character that is supposed to super buff themselves and deal an insane amount of damage. So I think that will be the best idea. Now, there's another thing they could have done. Honestly, I would have preferred for her to have normal stats like any Taimanin, like being tanky enough and just receive damage and sometimes die. But, what they could have done with all of her skills is to add like two general effects. Number one, reduce HP. Depending on the skills, the HP reduction could be different. Like cutting your HP in half while using the pure skills, the pure color skills. Cutting your HP by flat 10% of your max HP. Cutting your HP by 20%, flat 20% of your max HP, or maybe 20% of current HP, whatever the case. If they had given us control over our HP, that would have made it easier for us to just activate the passive manually. It is not like just use a skin and do a death skill, which is not a bad idea. It's also a way to do it, but honestly, you don't just hand in the buff from the very beginning. So that would have been a good way to implement this. But you might be thinking, well, what happens when you proc the revive? You're still going to reduce your HP, you're gonna die eventually. Well, you just detect that you use your revive, and when you have used your revive, you change the HP consumption for a different effect, like damage increase, like healing, like buffing. Honestly, those three effects on all the skills will be pretty good. It would be an excellent way to design a character who is supposed to revive, to super buff themselves. It will be busted perhaps, but honestly, being slow is already a substantial debuff by itself. Murasaki doesn't like she's a good character, but she's not great at DPS because of how slow she is. Even though she deals good damage, she takes too long to deal the damage. And the same can be said about Wight. She takes a substantial amount of time to deal that damage. The only good DPS she has is Jaxia's Judgment because of how insane the numbers are. But that's the only skill, and you have to wait for the cooldown. Hammerfall is it deals respectable damage, but due to the fact that she's pretty slow and it has a big, long hit count, she is going to take too much time and she's going to expose herself. So, for example, if this skill recover HP after the revival, per per hit, not like per damage, but per hit. When you hit, you recover 10% of your max HP. That way, it will be a reliable skill to use because even though you're gonna get hit, you're recovering HP constantly. And since you have an insane amount of damage reduction with the leader skill, that would allow you to just take the hits. But no, they didn't. They decided to do this awkward character, which has a useless skill. I mean, it's okay if there's a useless skill. Like this, maybe you only use on PvP, but there's no benefit of using this because of the animation, how it works, and the effects. This is basically way better. Um, the same can be said about the basic enhancer, but well, whatever. It is what it is. Some characters have dead basic enhancer. It's just that. The good thing, like World Reverse, Poison Golem, that those are good. The three pure colors are fine. This is fine, and these are great. This has flaws, but even so, it's usable. Trust me, I think this is a good skill, as long as you can withstand the hits. This is awful, honestly. Healing areas are not good in the game. Why do I say so? Because they usually the stages are pretty big, and the area is just limited to a small part of the stage. And what? You're gonna tell the enemy, come to this specific spot? No, it's not gonna happen. Honestly, they should buff all the healing areas to be like the whole stage. I know that would be kind of busted, but some stages are too big. It's just that if all the stages had the same size, they could have balanced this, but that's not the case. So why bother using these skills, honestly? So yeah, they need to change this character, and I really hope they don't. They can do a small fix with the decisive pack, but fundamentally this character needs the renewal already, and she just released. It hasn't been a month since her release, so yeah, let's hope that Grimoire listens to these suggestions. If they did the changes that I mentioned that cut HP and then they change it to a buff on all the skills, that would be amazing. Like healing on a skill or having a buff, having extra damage on that specific skill. It would be just great to have extra effects once you already revive. They could do some, I don't know, like counters to know if you already revive or you have a revive active so that you are able to cut your HP. Honestly, I think that once the first revive is done, they should just change it to the buff version, and it doesn't matter if you have an extra revive. Because the weapon provides a revive, supporters can provide a revive, but that it can be detrimental that if you already got the buff of the leader skill, you cut your HP. You prefer to have the extra buff, so I would just activate them on the first revive, in my opinion, and let the other revives be an actual safety net. But let me know in the comments what you think, guys. Honestly, how would you fix this character? I'm interested in your opinion because it looks pretty bad because of how Grimoire designed this particular character. But I think the mechanic has potential. It's just that they miss the mark by a lot. But let me know in the comments what you think. How would you fix this character? What would you give her? What kind of weapon do you want to see when she finally gets her decisive pack? Which we know is gonna be kind of a hot fix, and let's hope that they decide to give the the effect of this weapon on the actual leader skill, the ability to inflict tipsy just by using the skills. And the same can be said about this one, the ability to gain the damage reduction, the substantial damage reduction on the leader skill just cause. Because she really needs it. Well, anyways, guys, that's about it. I hope you find this informative. Let's hope that Gremory decides to check this video and think on it, sleep on that idea. So, anyways, that's about it for today. I hope you find this useful, entertaining, or whatever. And I'll be seeing you next time. Be sure to leave your comments. Bye.